If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. That's George Orwell from 1984. But here's the thing, for today's youth, this isn't just dystopian fiction, it's their reality. So what does burdened childhood even mean in 2026? Gen Z didn't grow up dreaming of stable futures. They inherited a world on fire, the hottest years on record, mass displacement from floods and wildfires. They watched geopolitical nightmares unfold live on their feeds, Ukraine, Gaza, Afghanistan, and now they're slamming into a job market that's a fortress. Housing crisis that locks them out, and the anxiety about the future is skyrocketing. And politically, polarization, authoritarianism, misinformation is flooding every scroll. Now the question arises, who are these generations that are shaping the fight back? Gen Z, born between 1997 to 2012, are digital natives who grew up with smartphones and dystopian fiction as their cultural blueprint. They watched the Hunger Games as teenagers, then grew up in a world that looked increasingly like Panem, with climate crisis, wars, political collapse. They are the activists, the meme makers, the TikTok philosophers. Gen Alpha, born from 2013 onwards, have only known crisis. They have never experienced a world without climate emergency, without pandemic, without algorithmic manipulation. They are even more digitally native, even more creative, and their voices are just starting to emerge. This brings us to the question, how do young people respond? The young people respond by seizing control of narrative through the only infrastructure available to them: social media, digital platforms, and creative culture. Foucault describes heterotopias as counter-site spaces that exist outside normal rules. And crucially, social media is a heterotopia for youth. Why? Because in school, at home, in their families, youth are regulated. Adults make the rules. Adults punish deviation. But on TikTok, on Discord, on Tumblr, different rules apply. Anonymity is possible, satire is rewarded, radical ideas are welcomed and not punished. This isn't just about fun. Heterotopias are spaces where you can re-narrate reality. In normal society, youth are told you are powerless, your future is predetermined. But in these digital spaces, they rewrite that script. They imagine themselves as heroes. They practice resistance. Youth aren't just surviving the boot, they are laughing it off its face. Through humor, satire, memes, mockery, and wild creative expressions, they are dismantling power one viral jab at a time. Take the chaos of shipping Bill Clinton and Donald Trump, for example. It's pure absurdity of turning political icons into fanfic punchlines. Or those rage comics exploding over billionaire tax cuts. Present-day youth shred government narratives, slicing through propaganda faster than any press release. They wake the masses, sparking critical thinking over blind consumption of the state spin. Leaders become instant laughingstocks. Memes morph into democratic weapons. And truth serums, letting us define reality, not scripted sound bites. But it goes deeper than memes. Youth defiance levels up. It extends beyond memes into sophisticated digital resistance. Razor-sharp YouTube essays gutting government flops, Substack manifestos mapping environmental doom, raw podcasts spilling climate traumas and identity wars, to name a few. And here's the key. It doesn't stay in the digital space. The memes become protest signs. The Discord organizing becomes real marches, and this heterotopia becomes the training ground for real resistance. For example, take Afghanistan Gen Z various. Taliban crushes physical protest, but girls and diaspora youth flips to WhatsApp and Telegram. When streets becomes death traps, youth forge unbreakable digital front lines. They document horrors, run virtual campaigns, keep globalized locked on. Gen Zs, raised on Hunger Games, Maze Runner 1984. They now see Their fiction bleeding into fact, climate collapse like apocalyptic sun flares, Big Brother surveillance everywhere, political sarcassists rivaling the Capitol. They weaponize those stories, turning entertainment into street resistance against polluters and power grabbers. These kids are inheriting battlegrounds, not playgrounds. So they read dystopian playbooks to fight the system that those tales foresaw. A prime example could be the protest in Thailand in 2020. Youth mourned crushed democracy and mocked military with dystopian symbolism, with the three-finger Hunger Games salute. The youth is not just busy posting, they are actively protesting. For these youth, future nostalgia isn't passive sadness, it's weaponized grief where youth mourn what's lost while simultaneously dismantling the system responsible through ridicule. The laughter isn't denial, it's their battle cry. These youths aren't just kids waiting to mature. They are political architects actively leading climate strikes, union strikes, and digitally organizing at scales adults can't match. We need to stop thinking of digital activism as not real activism. For Gen Z, digital and real world are the same thing. The digital space solves a real problem, isolation. A kid in a small town, marginalized by their community, can now find their people instantly. They get mentorship, creative collaboration, emotional support, and crucially, they get a sense of, we are in this together. That feeling makes them brave enough to act in the real world. Even when the protest fails, they don't disappear. They become digital counter-narratives. They get memed. They inspire the next wave. So when we see youth making zines, posting TikToks or Reels, we are not seeing frivolous distractions from real activism. We are seeing the infrastructure that makes real activism possible. We are seeing a community. We are seeing planning. We are seeing young people say this system is broken and we are going to fix it together. As Orwell quotes, power is in tearing human minds to pieces and putting them together again in new shapes of your own choosing. That's exactly what youth are doing right now. The old power booth stamping futures, adult rules, lies fed by the government, they rip it apart online. Memes shred the lies. Digital archives rebuild hopes. In these digital heterotopias, they don't just resist, they redesign reality on their terms. They are no longer the victims, they are the architects. Thank you.